joining together with like-minded people, with others of all, and because the power of community can shield us from the uncertainties of our times and all the pride and our problems. And it's a powerful tool. The Sar Esav could only get to Yaakov when he was alone.
Okay, good morning YouTube and good morning Facebook. Good morning everybody. Parshat VaYishlakh. Here we are again with the Slonimer on page Reish Chaf Vav. If you have the book with us, Netivot Shalom, page Reish Chaf Vav. And it's commentary on the pasuk Vayoter Yaakov levado v'yavek ish imo. No?
Okay, we'll jump right in.
Yeah, we're in.
We're in now. We're in live.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. It's early in the morning. Let's get everyone awake.
Let's get everyone awake.
Yeah. So now Ukraine has been in the news lately.
That's true.
So I've been there a few times because there's a famous rabbi buried over there. His name was Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. So I visited there on Rosh Hashanah a few times.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Interesting place,
I heard of it.
to say the least. And so there's an old Ukrainian folk tune that the Hasidim took as their own. And so if you're up on your Ukrainian, you'll understand this.
Mm-hmm.
I'll translate.
Okay.
Не журите, хлопцы, что из нами будет. Мы подъедем до Корчонки, там водки будет. Не журите, хлопцы, что из нами будет. Не подъедем до Корчонки, там водки будет. You heard the vodka part?
I heard the vodka.
Ay, 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 ay. Ay, da 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 da. Ay da 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 again. Ay da 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 da. Ay da 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 da. Next part. Ay da 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 da. Hey, da 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 da. Ay da 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 da. Hey, da 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 da. Again that part. Ay da 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 da. Hey, da 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 da. Next part. Bum bum. Bye day da da day. Day day da da day day day. Hey hey da da day da da day da da day. Bum bum. Day da da da. Hey day da da day day. Hey day da da day da da day. And day 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 da da day da da day da da day. Day 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 da da day da da day. Now there's much more, but we do want to learn something here today. We just don't want to sing and drink, so we'll say l'chaim. Right? You know they say the Russian Hasidim.
It looks like vodka, but
I'm saying they say it says in this week's parsha im loven garti. So the Russian Hasidim, the Polish Hasidim drink schnapps and bourbon and whiskey. The Russians, they drink vodka and they like to say im loven garti. Yaakov said I lived with that bad guy Lovin, but im loven with the white stuff.
The white stuff, yeah.
Vodka, clear. Okay, that's enough jokes.
What a beautiful way to start the morning here start Torah with any good. I think it's not a coincidence that guitar, Gitorah, there's a connection there, the guitar, so ויוותר יעקב לבדו ויאבק איש עמו עד עלות השחר.
Okay.
So Yaakov stayed alone, and he encountered the angels. There's a famous story in the Parsha.
He was going to meet his brother Esav, and there was a question about what Esav was the intentions were, if he's going to meet him peaceably or make war with him. So he sent his family ahead, and then it says, the pasuk says, he went back across the stream because he forgot some stuff. He went back alone, and over there he had an encounter with a man, but
a man,
also,
later we know that it's an angel,
right?
And he wrestles with the man all night long. Right. And the point of the teaching here is really the emphasis is going to be on Yivater Levado, that something happened because he was there alone. And the man who turns out to be the angel is wrestling with him until the dawn of day, the rising of the sun. And the man was not able to overcome.
He was losing the wrestling match.
He was losing the wrestling match. So he touched Vayiga b'kaf yirecho. He touched the socket of his pelvic socket.
Yeah, right? That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Right. It's just to the hip and the thigh. Exactly. This bone right here, and he dislocated it.
And he dislocates it. Vateka kaf yirech Yaakov be'avek imo. And so Yaakov walks away, actually injured in that way. He actually is victorious. He has victory over the guy, but he walks away. The angel dislocates his hip. V'gemara Chulin Tzadik Aleph in the Gemara melamed she'elu avak margelotam ad kisei hakavod. So in the Gemara it says that as they were wrestling, the dust that they were kicking up rose up. So you can imagine, where they're rolling around, right, on the ground, and the dust that's kicked up rises all the way to the throne of the Holy One.
Right, because this wrestling match is actually a cosmic wrestling match, which has to do with you and I and the whole world and the whole universe, and so they're employing a language to show that this was it had spiritual ramifications.
And also in the Zohar, in Chelek Gimel, Reish Mem Gimel, ויש לבאר המשמעות איך שייך שהגיע האבק עד לכיסא הכבוד, and the Zohar says that we have to, you have to understand this. How did the dust reach all the way up to God's throne? וכן יש לומר מה דכתוב, and also we have to understand, interpret about when it says ותקע כף ירך יעקב באבקו עמו, that the hip was dislocated. What does that mean? Now, what's the significance of that? לשמה נכתב שוב בהבקו עמו מאחר שכתוב, because you have a duplication of the word to wrestle, בהבקו עמו. לשמה נכתב שוב בהבקו עמו מאחר שכתוב כבר ויאבק איש עמו. So we already know that he was wrestling. Why does it say that he wrestled with him for a second time? As we know, nothing is superfluous in the Torah, so there's got to be a meaning there. ויש לומר העניין כמאמר חז"ל, and we need to address this matter through the words of Chazal, the sages.
That's the Midrash.
So in the Midrash about Bereshit, about this parsha, שהוא היה שרו של יעקב, של עשיו. So who was the angel? Says the Midrash. Says it was the
guardian angel.
The angel of Esav.
Yeah. Okay, guardian angel. Like the spiritual representation of what Esav represents to us. That's what that is.
Okay, understood. שנלחם עם יעקב במטרה להפילו על מדרגותיו. So this angel was wrestling with Yaakov with the aim of diminishing his spiritual level.
Yeah.
To bring him down, to have him
Right.
have him come down from the spiritual heights that he attained, Yaakov, and this is in the context, just to clarify the greater context. Esav and Yaakov have a historical conflict that's unresolved. So this happened 20 years ago before Yaakov left Canaan. And they had this unresolved conflict about their competition for the birthright and the blessing of Yitzchak, etc. And Esav
and the future of humanity, actually.
Future of humanity, and
who gets to be the Jewish people? Yeah.
Esav or Yaakov, who's going to be the progenitor? Yaakov is coming back, and Yaakov is afraid of Esav because Esav had intended to kill him back then, and he doesn't know how this is going to turn out. Okay, so there's a scheme here. So as long as Yaakov is in a high spiritual state, Esav would have no way to access or harm him, right? So you see, the Midrash is kind of, the angel is sort of, you could say, the advanced force is trying to weaken Yaakov. So perhaps when Esav meets him, he can actually harm him. The point is that there's this wrestling is not only a physical wrestling. But it's really, according to Slomer and the Midrash and the Zohar, this is really like you said before, the cosmic wrestling. There's really two different forces, in represented that are in this tension here.
Right.
And that's how we understand the pasuk when it says, "And a man wrestled with him." Vayavek ish imo. And the word vayavek is important here, and we're going to go into that in a moment. And here he says it. So that means, so here's a play on the word vayavek, and for, it's to clarify for those of you who are still working on the Hebrew. So the word vayavek classically means to wrestle. But it also means, because vayavek has the word avak in it, avak means ashes or dust, right? So here they're interpreting, they say, don't read it, he wrestled with him, but read it, he threw dust at him. It's an interesting thing, right? So what does it mean? And now we're going to get into that. כדמצינו בחז"ל לשון אבק ריבית, אבק שביעית, אבק לשון הרע, שאינם איסורים ממש אלא אבק איסור. So here he's going to a concept, a term that Chazal, the sages, have already offered, and this is in the sense of.
So there are things that you can't do that are explicit.
I see.
And this idea of avak is that there are things that are in between.
I see.
So there's gossip, right? There's something called gossip. So in Hebrew it's lashon hara.
Mm-hmm.
That's saying something negative about a person that's truthful, and we're not allowed to do that. So gossip, I guess you would say. So if you say, I just talked to Shlomi and he said blah blah blah, and I said, he's a liar. Now it could be he is a liar, so that's lashon hara. But if I would say to you, I just talked to Shlomi and he told me he was going to do this, that, and the other thing, and I said, that's what he told you. That's what he told you.
There's a tone.
Now, did I say he's a liar?
Yeah.
I didn't. But was I intimating? I'm implying, and I'm trying to go around in circles.
Right.
So, as we were speaking, there's something called the letter of the law, and then there's something called the spirit of the law. And it's possible to be a person that keeps the letter of the law, but he's not a nice guy. He's not where he's at. He's not where he's supposed to be because there's something off, right? Even though he's very straight. Right. But because he's busy with avak all day, he's busy trying to find ways and this and that, and it's like a place which is very hard to define, but it's a very important idea.
Thank you for that. So the concept here is that the avak is that gray zone, that cloud of dust where it's not
sure, it's not clear.
It's not clear. Yeah.
Like the guy said once, the famous Chief Justice said, he says, he was asked to define something. He said, "Well, I can't define it, but I know it when I see it."
Yeah.
That's what he famously said.
And that's the avak.
That's the avak, you know.
So v'zo v'yavek imo, and that's the other meaning here of, and he wrestled with him. V'yavek imo is that he was throwing doubt, he was throwing that unclarity, he was bringing him into that place where, for me, as I think of it, it's sort of like the impurity, the unclarity. It's not, because I'm thinking about how he was saying that the purpose is to diminish his spiritual, so you're kind of casting doubt at him. You're putting him in a place where, his he's not on solid foundation in terms of his spiritual.
He's sowing the seeds of doubt in his mind on a deep, deep level.
Mm-hmm. Because the angel knew that when it comes to isurim, meaning the letter of the law, where it's really clear what's.
He's not going to get Yaakov Avinu to be Mechal Shabbos, to break Shabbos. He's not going to get him to have a ham sandwich. Mm-hmm. He's not going to say, Yaakov, here, have a tasty ham sandwich. Yaakov isn't going to go for that. Yeah. So he's got to go deeper. He's got to get really deep, as he's going to speak soon about different levels of emunah, of faith. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to grab him where he felt he had an opportunity now, which we'll see why now, and to grab him on that very deep level, not on the surface level.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's why he was trying to throw dust at his. That's literally the idiom he uses here at his spiritual levels. Yeah. Right. והדרך זה יש לומר כוונת מאמר חז"ל העלו אבק על כיסא הכבוד. And that's what the sages meant when they said that as they were wrestling, the dust reached all the way up to to the Holy One, to the throne. The kisei hakavod merumaz al inyan emunah, because the word God's throne is really representing the issue of faith.
Yeah, the essence of his faith.
The essence of faith, the essence of, I would say, spiritual focus.
Right. There you go. Yeah.
And so what the angel was doing is trying to throw dust at his faith capacity. I like this. To shatter the foundation of clarity in his spiritual level, in his faith. Right?
Yeah.
So I like that. So the play here is between that place of clarity
and cloudedness,
and that place of cloudedness. Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful. And there's another interpretation in Kli Yakar. It's another sefer on the verse Vayavek Ishimo, and a person wrestled with him. He wanted to blind the sight of his mind's sight. ואומרו עד עלות השחר, עד ולא עד בכלל. And that's why it says until the rise of dawn, right? כי על ידי עלות השחר הכיר באמת כי יש לעולם בורא ומנהיג. Because when the dawn rises, so you can think about an internal dawn, the dawn in the mind,
then he'll be thinking clearly. So you had to get him at this moment when he wasn't thinking clearly.
In the dark.
In spiritual, he was in a space of a little bit of spiritual darkness at that moment. That's why he thought he had a chance.
ובבחינה הזו ותקע כף ירך יעקב. And this also helps us understand why was Yaakov's hips dislocated. שהכניס אבק בגודל דרגת הקדושה העליונה של יעקב. That so the hip here represents
Yaakov Avinu represents Torah, and he represents diversity, diversity, because he is the father of the of all the 12 tribes, and he blesses each one of them. Each one of them represents a different aspect of personality.
That's right.
In the world.
So
Torah,
he's unique in the sense that he's now representing a collective. Where Avraham and Yitzchak,
they were individuals. Yaakov represents the beginning of the Jewish community, and not only just a generic community, but a Jewish Torah-based Jewish community. So you can't, if someone chas v'sholom has a problem with their hips, they know. That's it, because that's holding up the whole thing. It's holding up the whole structure. So he went after this part of the body, which is the foundation of the entire structure, which is Yaakov, and his family.
I see. Well, I just want to add one more thing to that that the hip represents the physical. So the Solomon was talking. You remember briefly about that there's the faith of the mind, of the intellect, the faith of the heart, and the faith of the body.
Right.
And he says the faith of the body is actually the highest level of the faith because it's embodied. It's like when it's already in your bloodstream, in your cellular.
You become one with it.
Right. That spirituality, that's so much in the body that if there's any corruption, your body reacts. It's not only that your heart reacts or your mind reacts, but it's like your body is so tuned in. Right. Yeah, so that was Yaakov, right? So why did it? So the Malach, the Sar, wanted to reach to diminish him on that level, right? So שהכניס הבך בגודל דרגת הקדושה העליונה של יעקב, ויש לומר בזה עוד, וירא כי לא יכול לו. And more we need to say about this, and he saw that he could not do it. He wasn't able. The angel was not able to be successful to actually, reach in to access that level. The Solomon is actually very big on kedusha b'mutar. He talks about that a lot. That's which is, and I think he's talking. I mean, the kind of the field, the laboratory for that is sexuality, right? Is physical. Desires, So obviously, in Jewish tradition, that's not forbidden. So other traditions go there, right, with celibacy. But for us, it's not forbidden. But yet, how do you bring kedusha into the physicality where the Torah doesn't tell you, no, avoid it, be celibate. The Torah doesn't say. On the contrary. Be involved with the world, be involved with sexuality, be involved with materiality, be involved with the body, but bring holiness to that, bring a certain consciousness and elevation to it, right? And that's much more difficult. And that's where the Sar is trying to reach him, and that's the level of the hip, is the obviously the sexual organs, and that represents that whole very sensitive and delicate potential of bringing spirituality to an area where the Torah doesn't give you clear. I mean, it does give you, but still leaves a lot of room for, for bringing spirituality into that which is permitted and taking that to another level. וכמו דכתוב וידו חסד בעקב עשיו, and as it is written, and וידו חסד בעקב עשיו, Yaakov was holding, this is back where Yaakov is grabbing onto the heel of Esav when they were both being born as twins, and Esav was coming out first. So Akev Rashi Tevot is the acronym Kadesh Atzmecha B'Mutar.
There you go.
Sanctify yourself with that which is permitted. So this is really beautiful because it's that extra greatness of Yaakov that the Malach is trying to reach, because the basic spirit, he had the basics mastered. He was so solid there that there was no penetration. But in that extra area where that's where he's trying to to take advantage of whatever vulnerability is there, and yet he can't. והתורה מספרת שכל זה היה בעת Vayivater Yaakov levado, and this is the point that you know that you were talking to us about, that the timing here is really critical, and the Torah is telling us that all this happened when Vayivater Yaakov levado, when Yaakov is alone. He sent his family ahead of him, and he goes back to the camp, and he's there all by himself. He was alone without the 12 tribes of God's tribes.
Without the support of the 12 tribes.
We learn from this that as long as Yaakov was together with his sons, with the 12, what? So the evil spirit, or the opposing force here, was not able to touch him. So that's powerful. I'll take a breath and
there's so much here.
Yeah,
but so the power of community basically is the point the Slaughterman is making, is that we ourselves, we live in such an alienated world. Yeah. We're all alienated from each other.
Yeah.
So interestingly, because through technology, it would seem, all these technological advances which seem to bring people from all over the world close together in a certain way, but on a real deep level, maybe that's the superficial way, in the mayach and maybe the leiv, but not the evarim, like on a real deep level.
In the mind, in the
heart, but maybe not internalized, Facebook friends, so... Yeah. How many of them are my friends?
Is it really
friends, or are they just like, am I their friend so they can throw political things down my stream there, or whatever it is, and it gets all weird stuff. But so he's saying that joining with a synagogue, joining with a community, joining with a Hebrew learning circle, coming to the Hanukkah party this Sunday,
joining with Achdus Israel.
Joining together with like-minded people, with others of all, and because the power of community can shield us from the uncertainties of our times and all the pride and our problems.
Yeah.
And it's a powerful tool. The Sar Esav could only get to Yaakov when he was alone.
Yeah. To add to what you're saying, the power of community to enhance the spiritual level of
everybody.
Of everybody.
Right.
Yeah. So there's so much you can do alone, and alone you're vulnerable, but together we can all rise with in Kedusha. You may be considering this from an individual kind of standing, and there are other spiritual paths out there, and not to diminish anybody, it's like I respect all different ways, but there are paths that point to singular work. It's all up to you. It's all I think about other maybe Eastern paths, or I don't actually since I'm not an expert in other spiritual paths, I don't want to make judgments, but certainly there's that impression. It's like I go to a meditation, retreat, or it's all about me alone, and there is a spiritual conversation that kind of puts all the onus on the individual, and for me, what's inspiring here is that you can't do it alone.
Right.
And
even Yaakov Avinu could do it.
Well, even Yaakov Avinu could do it alone, and you really, there's something about the collective, the Shiftei Hashem, which is really the I like what you said before, the like-minded people, so if you're on a spiritual path, you want to have others who are walking the path with you. Right. And then everybody rises higher, and everybody is stronger spiritually. And I wonder, for those of you who are viewing us there on YouTube and out in the cyber world, how do you reconcile the individual, the sense of me alone walking on my path? I'm responsible. We're each responsible for ourselves, and finding community of like-minded people, that not just for the sake of community, but really for the sake of elevation, spiritual elevation, like kind of fortifying. How does that work for you? Are you searching for community? Do you have a community you're satisfied with? How does that work? Do you have a community that you feel that is elevating you and that you're elevating others? Is that are you looking? Are you wondering? Do you have several communities? I'm just that whole principle of spiritual community that really works. That really brings Hashem's power. Really opens the channel. Because I want to say, I feel like I'm getting excited about this, but there's something that I'm excited here. That there are many communities where I come and I feel it's a coffee clutch. It's like, we're hanging out together, and that's also beautiful, But are we going to that level, where our angels are talking, not only our minds or hearts, but our angels are talking? Are we really, getting into that place of shiftei? But the Soimer here says that this piece of Torah, teaches us that the greatest protection for a person, for a Jew, is the power of the group, the power of the collective, הציבור. שמקושר לחברותה ונכלל עם יהודים המקושרים כאחד. When a person is connected to chavrusa, to the kindred spirit, the like-minded people, ונכלל עם היהודים המקושרים כאחד, and is in that place where people find that connection where they become as one.
Yeah.
Like we say, Hashem Echad, so when we become as one, we become into that oneness. We are like a little bit like Hashem. Kenny, Yotzon.
Yeah, that's a good one. This is a beautiful niggin from the Nickelsburger Rebbe.
Uh-huh.
Anerais Hallelu Anu Madlikim Al HaTeshuos Ve'al HaNisim Ve'al HaNiflaim She'asiso Lavoseinu Vayamim Ha'em Bizman hazeh al yedei kohanecha hakedoshim. These holy candles which we light remind us of the miracles you did for us.
Remind us of the miracles.
In those times and for us today, we need it, right? We need the miracles.
Oh, we need it.
Big time.
We need it.
For us today, and all 8 days of Hanukkah, we look upon these holy lights to praise and thank your holy name, to thank your holy name.
Thank you, everybody out there in cyberspace for being here with us, sharing this learning in the virtual yeshiva
Community.
and this virtual community. Yes, we are all one. We shared a moment of oneness. Thank you, Rebelli. Thank you, everybody, and we'll say shalom for now.
Hanukkah.
Please subscribe by clicking the red button below. Like, share, comment. It is great to have you here. See you later.